Alright, hi everyone, this is Alex, and I'm here to present to you my Eevee deck. I'm, for the U150 Pokemon format. I'm, very new to playing Pokemon. I'm normally a Magic player, however my friend recently got me into this format. I'm not completely sure of all the rules of the format, so if there's anything you see in the deck that shouldn't be there, doesn't belong, or is missing, please let me know. Appreciate it, so let me go ahead and get started. Alright, so I wanted to start off with the Eevees. So I've got 1, 2 Eevees, 160 health, one's 50 health, but the most important thing is they both have Energy Evolution, which says whenever you attach a basic energy card from your hand to this Pokemon, you can search your deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon that is the same type as that energy and place it onto that Pokemon. Now, this is actually the central theme of my deck, is for the Eevees to use Energy Evolution to get out higher evolutions and combo off with this Eevee, which is a Chain Reaction Eevee. What this Eevee says is when another one of my Pokemon evolves, I can evolve it. Since playing an energy on one of my Eevees counts as evolving it, I can use Chain Reaction to also evolve that Eevee. My other Eevees, since I didn't know if there's any others with Energy Evolution, is the 60 health one that has Signs of Evolution to tutor up some natural evolutions, as well as Lieutenant Surge's Eevee to kind of get that 5th Eevee, since I heard that the naming restriction allows it to get around the 4 of limit. If there's any other Eevees I should be running, please, once again, let me know. Alright. Next up, we're going to go ahead and run the rest of the basics that I'm running that aren't Eevees and their lines. Then I'll get to the Eeveelutions. So the first I have is a Noibat. Noibat is the first one I have up is an evolution here. And it because it evolves into Noivern, which had a pretty powerful 3 energy attack for Dark and Psychic, which is what I'm running in the deck. Orioko here is for energy tutoring. When it comes into play, I can go grab 2 basic energies, which kind of helps with fixing since I'm running a couple different types in the deck. I am running this ball toy. While I realize that this is the strictly incorrect Baltoy to run, as it is not a fighting type, therefore it can't be tutored with the Karina card in my deck. It's the one the store had in stock. But I am also running the Claydol to go with it, which is the correct fighting type. So, at least I got that part right. I am also running, let's see what we got here. Apparently I'm running a card in a wrong stack here because I'm looking for it, and it might be in my item card stack here. Let me take a look. Sorry for the delay. Let's see. Nope. Alright then. So I'm running some basic Pokemon as well. Pawniard goes into Bisharp, which has this pretty neat revenge kill for just 1 energy. It does 90 damage, so that can kind of come out and surprise people, I guess. Here's the Noivern that also has tuning, which can allow me to cycle my whole hand. I realize that Porygon is just better, so those are in the mail. Alright. So I found that card I was looking for. It was in the Eeveelution stack. So I'm running a 2 and a 1 of Zoroark line. Foul Play seemed really, really powerful, especially against like opposing GXs. just being able to use like their really 4 energy, 180 damage attack for 2 energy seemed really, really valuable. And this one can search up this as its attack if it's my opener. My final ones are Yveltal and Darkrai. I'm not sure if these are format legal upon doing a little more research into it. I think they are because they're under 150 health, but I'm not so sure. If they're not, once again, please let me know. Darkrai's in there because I also have Darkrai level X, which will power up my Umbreon, which is one of my Eeveelutions, as well as Endless Darkness being an incredibly powerful way to stall out a game against a otherwise unbeatable wall. Oblivion Ring is kind of my way to recover on Yveltal for like an Umbreon if my Espeon gets knocked out, as Espeon's usually my main attacker. Alright, so let's get into the Eeveelutions, the fun part of this deck. Alright, so we've got some really overpowered ones in Umbreon GX and Espeon GX. Now, Espeon GX is, you're going to be your main attacker here. So let's go ahead and put that on top for a second. What it does is makes it so that your opponent's Pokemon is confused and does 30 damage for just 1 Psychic energy. And it has the power Psychic, which allows you to go ahead and hit for 60 damage plus 30 more for each energy they have on it. So even if they just have 2 energies, that's hitting for 120 for just 3 energies. But what I usually like doing is its GX attack. I usually use this one's GX attack over the Umbreon. Because this one's GX attack, what it does is it allows you to put 10 damage counters anywhere you like. So it's kind of like a surprise spread, I guess. Maybe not surprise if you know Eeveelutions or whatever. But anyways, it allows you to kill like a Claydol and put 2 damage on their active, or 20, or however that works. Or sometimes allows you to kill 2 of their benched Pokemon. Sometimes it sets you up to have an Umbreon come in, and then its Umbreon's attack also hits a benched Pokemon. So you can soften up a couple Pokemon to have multiple knockouts in a row. Then we have the Umbreon. For 1 energy, it is Strafe, and it says it does 30 damage, and then you can switch them out. So you can just bounce. You can attack and bounce if it's like against a fighting type where you're about to get smashed. But it also has Shadow Bullet, which is really powerful, which does 90 damage to the active, and then hits one of the benched Pokemon as well for another 20. So that seemed pretty sweet to me. The Dark Call GX is not one I usually use, but it's super energy removal effectively without the cost of discard. So that's pretty cool. At 200 health apiece, they're also fairly resilient. Next, we have Vaporeon, Flareon, and Jolteon. The OG trio, if you will. The only thing is, the only one that will ever actually be able to attack in this deck without a Rainbow Energy is the Vaporeon. The reason why is we only run Water Energies, we don't run Lightning or Fire. However, if you do happen to get the Rainbow Energy, any of them can attack for just 1 energy and a DCE. Alright. And lastly, we have a Leafeon. So Leafeon here is in here because it is a single colorless to attack. So if we find ourselves in a position where we're having to rebuild, maybe we got wiped or something along that nature, we de-evolved, that's a real big weakness of the deck actually, is the Claydol that de-evolves all of your opponent's Pokemon. Because we have so many GXs that end our turn, this is a good attacker to go into, especially since it's just 1 energy, because it does 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. All of them. So if they just have 1 or 2 energy sitting on a bench center and 1 energy on their active, it's hitting for 60 for just 1 energy. So this is another really powerful one. Next, I guess I'll go into the energies. I have 3 special energies. I have a darkness energy, double colorless energy, and a rainbow energy that I had mentioned earlier. The darkness energy is just to get that little bit extra attack in if I have to go on the Darkrai or the Yveltal plan, as well as being really good on the Umbreon, because then its Shadow Bullet does 100 to the active, although I believe it only still does 20 to the benched. So, and then, of course, double colorless energy. Even though a lot of my attacks are various colors, I feel like double colorless energy has to just be like one of those uncuttable cards from your deck. So I feel pretty comfortable running it. And rainbow energy is just kind of tie together, you know, give all of the EVs their attack options instead of just Vaporeon. So yeah, we've got that going on. Next, we've got 2 water energies. These are basically just to get around the whole a wall like Carbink or something that says can't be damaged by EXs. This allows us to energy evolve into a Vaporeon, which is a really which is your only attacker in the deck and kind of the reason why you're even running those. Next, we have 4 dark energies. Once again, Umbreon is not your main attacker, Espeon is, so we only run a couple of dark energies. They're usually fairly tutorable anyways. Alright, next we run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 psychic energies. That's probably too many. I mean, but it feels really awesome to be able to open up on an Eevee plus an energy. It's almost a combo, so I did go kind of heavy on the energies. If those should be cut down, definitely let me know. But it's felt pretty good running with 25 energies. I'm not sure if that's normal or not. I know in Magic, which is the game I'm more used to, we run approximately 30 to 33 lands in a 100-card deck. So, but this has much more draw power, so I'm comfortable running much less. All right. Next up, we're going to go ahead and do our supporters here. So I've got Coloris. I actually opened this card. My wife and I, you know, she sometimes says she's into Pokemon, so I had bought a set at the time, and this card, I found it looking through my cards, seems very powerful, and I've noticed it's in a couple of lists I see online. Next up, I have Professor Oak's New Theory. Basically, it shuffles your hand back in, and then you draw 6. So it seems pretty powerful because, once again, draw effects are pretty powerful. Sycamore is a draw 7, which is even better, and seems super powerful as having that effect because it just gets you through your deck so quickly. I'm running a Skyla to be able to kind of tutor the supporter or the trainer card that I need. If I understand this correctly, this can also grab the Elite Four. So I can use it to like grab energy removal. So that seems pretty powerful because skylaying for an energy removal and then being able to use it instantly since it's not a supporter seems pretty powerful. I'm running this Bebe Search because I've got a lot of moving parts and it seems to kind of tie it together, being able to tutor up Pokemon. Lysander's Trump card seems pretty good for being able to recycle back into the deck a lot of the resources that you've already used, since a lot of them seem really powerful. I do understand that the Elite Four goes to what's called the Lost Zone. Pokemon collectors kind of enable those EV chains. I usually grab a Chain Evolution EV, my Ball Toy, and an Energy Evolution EV, and then I can kind of combo off from there. Giovanni's Scheme is pretty much just another draw effect, being able to draw 5, but it also allows kind of, if you have to, push through a KO. Pokemon Fan Club, kind of the same deal, just there to get 2 basics to throw on the bench. Tutor up Energy Evolution EV and Chain Reaction EV, combo off. Judge is kind of control my opponent's hand as well as refill mine. If I'm getting low on resources, I can judge. But also, if they just tutored a whole bunch of things or just refilled their hand, I can judge them down. This sounds like it's less effective in this format since things like Claydol and Porygon exist. Here's another draw effect in Sophocles. It seems like it's the worst one in my deck, where it's just draw 4 after discarding 2. Hala here draws me 4 cards after shuffling my hand back into the deck. But if I've used my GX attack, which I tend to use fairly early in the game, it's another draw 7 effect. Team Flare Grunt is just to kind of control my opponent's active. Even though it's a supporter, so it's not as good as like energy removal, it also can't hit the bench. Being able to remove an energy from my opponent's active, it tends to be really, really good, especially if you're lucky enough to hit like DCE. Copycat is ran just as another draw effect. Several times it'll be a draw 6 or better. So I draw cards equal to my opponent's hand. Wally here is to help my tie together a lot of the evolutions. If I have to kind of manually do it, if I have like Lieutenant Surge's Eevee or something of that nature, allows me to kind of combo off with that. Olivia allows me to find both my GXs if I ever, find myself in a position where I need to manually evolve my Eevees. Maybe there's a goop effect, or maybe there's something that's stopping me from having my Pokemon powers. N is seems like it's pretty staple for the format. Usually it's draw 8 if it's used early, but my deck tends to claim prizes fairly fast. But even still, just being able to draw some number of cards seems very powerful. Teammates is because eventually they will knock out my Espeon and get 2 prizes. And I want to be able to tutor up the, usually just an energy removal and another attacker. So it seems just really good. Plumeria, once again, energy removal just seems really, really powerful. Getsus. Being able to hit all of my opponent's items seems really, really powerful, especially since draw power seems so prevalent in this format. Castaway seems to be one of the most powerful tutors in this format, since you get to search 3 things. Juniper is another one of those draw 7 effects that I think is just one of the most broken things about this format. Malo here, since it searches for 2 cards, I can search for any 2 things that I think I might need. Even if that's, and then with Claydol, I can draw them immediately if I need to. Steven here is powerful because he's a double tutor. So he tutors for an energy and another supporter. So that's pretty powerful, especially if I'm tutoring up like Karina here, who will find me Claydol and a tool card as well, or an item card as well, which is pretty powerful. Sometimes it's a nest ball. Who knows? I've got quite a few item cards. I'm going to be going over those next. AZ is if they're getting close to knocking out my Espeon, a trick I can use is I can AZ it back so they don't get the knockout, and shuffle it back into the deck, either with like my Claydol or with one of my effects that says shuffle your hand back in and then draw, like Judge. And then I can energy evolve an Eevee and play back into the Espeon, and they won't get the GX knockout. And then Hex Maniac. I actually don't have a Goop Gas attack yet. I have one on order, but I do have the Hex Maniac, which is effectively the same thing, but it also hits you. Alright, so like I said, I do not have the Goop Gas attack. However, I do have the other 3 big ones. I do have Gust of Wind, Super Energy Removal, and Gust of Wind. So, Gust of Wind seemed powerful. Energy removal, once again, it seems to me to be the most powerful thing you can be doing as far as denying your opponent their resources. I'm also running an Escape Rope, because it seems like basically another Gust of Wind. But it also gives you the upside of if you have a Pokemon in that maybe you are forced into, it can get it out of there. Computer Search just seems really, really good, since you can find any card that you want, and then you can buy it back with like Junk Arm, which seems incredible, or you can buy back other items that you may need. Last is a card I'm running that can really catch your opponent off guard if you last them, because trainers seem really, really powerful in this format since most supporters are trainers. So you can just last them right out of the game sometimes. Battle Compressor is mainly to get cards out of my deck that wouldn't be so useful later game, and since it's an item, it won't take your turn. Hard Charm is to kind of make your Eevee survive longer, since that Espeon will be taking some hits. Sometimes they're chip hits of like 60 damage. Reducing it to 40 is way powerful. Level Ball is to kind of enable those combos of Energy Evolution plus Chain Reaction Eevee. Oak is a draw 7 that doesn't take your supporter, which just seems insane. Ultra Ball, once again, enabling that A plus B combo of Energy Evolution Eevee plus Chain Reaction Eevee is just the most broken interaction you could possibly be doing in this deck. And so that's mainly what we're working on doing as much as possible. Floatstone. Most of my EVs retreat for pretty cheap, but sometimes my supporters get jammed into play and they need to get out of there. Mainly Floatstone is for that reason. Random Receivers, because supporters are pretty powerful. This is an item, so it uses it for free. It can get you into some pretty powerful top decks, even though you won't know what you're getting. I have Switch. Once again, sometimes you don't have a Pokemon you want in play. You have your supporter, you have your Baltoy, you have your Claydol. You're able to get it out with a Switch. Super Rod is because sometimes my Espeon gets knocked out, and I need it back in the deck to Energy Evolve it again. Once again, Super Rod puts it back in the deck. I'm able to Energy Evolve it. It's a pretty powerful card, really. Nest Ball, same thing. Go find basic small guy, put him on the bench. All my EVs are basic small guys. If I remember correctly, this card's Pot of Greed, right? Yeah, draw 2 cards, no downside, 1 for 2, no reason not to run it. This one's because I don't want my Espeons ever in my hand. Well, not ever. Sometimes I don't want them in my hand. But if I do want them in my hand, this finds me an Espeon or an Umbreon. If I don't want it in my hand, it allows me to put it back in the deck. Professor's Letters to make sure I have those consistent energies, since I sometimes just have dark energies. I also want to have access to, or psychic energies. I also want to have access to dark. Item Finders to rebuy those items that I've already used. Field Blower is to remove my opponent's items that that have been hindering me. As I've been talking about how powerful these items are, I figured I needed a way to remove my opponent that probably thought the same thing. And a Muscle Band. That's to help me get those KOs. Generally, Psychic isn't powerful enough at only doing sometimes 90 damage, but being able to push it up that extra 10 or 20 is really, really powerful. Alright, so that's all of my items there. I believe that's the whole deck. If you have any input, please let me know. I appreciate it so much, and thanks for watching.